This tutorial will show you how to enter a stock transport order in SAP. The tutorial will also describe the basic requirements you need to perform this process, and the expected outcome of the process. Areas that are covered. 1. Opening SAP. 2. Creating a stock transport order. 3. Creating a deliveries for the stock transport order. To create a stock transport order in SAP, you will need a valid DOITS part number that has the availability verified, the required outbound shipping date for the component, the destination address if the component is being drop shipped for a service repair job, the shipping method to be used, and a reference number or name for the job or person the component is required for. The valid part number and availability information can be obtained by watching the tutorials for both of those subjects. Begin by opening SAP. To do this, you will need to find the SAP login shortcut located on your computer. When the login window appears, select the P01 server and double-click it. This will automatically open another window where you will need to enter your SAP username and password, and then single-click on the green check mark in the top left corner of the screen. Once the SAP Session Manager screen is open, you will need to access the transaction for creating a purchase order. A stock transport order is technically a purchasing document, and should be considered an internal purchase order between locations. This transaction will either be in the shortcut list you have on your screen, which you can double-click on, or you can manually type in the transaction code in the text box located at the top left of the screen. Once the transaction is selected, single-click on the green check mark. Once you are in the Create Purchase Order screen, go to the drop-down at the top left of your screen next to the shopping cart icon, and select Stock Transport Order. Next, on the Organizational Data tab, you will need to enter the purchasing organization you're in, and your purchasing group. The purchasing group is specific to your name, and you should only use that group. Finally, you will need to enter the company code for DOITS Corporation. Next, you will need to enter the supplying plant that you are requesting the transfer from in the field at the top center of your screen. Once you have entered the supplying plant, you will need to single-click on the Customer Data tab. When you are in this tab, you will need to enter the shipping condition that is needed for this request. Please note that the shipping condition must be entered before any line items are entered into the stock transport order, because once it is entered, that shipping condition will be used for the whole order. If you have items that need to ship by a different method, then another stock transport order will need to be created for those items. After the shipping condition is entered, you can enter the individual line items required on the order. Each separate material number will require its own line item, and if you want the same material to go to different storage locations, they will also require different line items. Separate line items can also be shipped to different locations, but it is recommended to limit this activity as it is more complex to track in the future, and because you must use the same shipping condition for all lines on a stock transport order. To enter a line item, first enter the valid DOITS part number you have in the material field. Second, enter the plant in SAP that will be receiving the component into in the plant field. Third, enter the storage location in SAP that will be receiving the component. Remember that if a service truck is requesting a component to be drop shipped, you must enter the correct storage location for the service truck here, and change the shipping address for this line item. Fourth, you will need to enter the quantity required in the PO quantity field. And finally, you will need to enter the required outbound shipping date in the delivery date field. Remember that this is the date the line item will be picked and shipped, not the expected delivery date to you or the customer site. By default, this first line item will ship to the address associated with the plant you are ordering the component for. This means that if you are going to add more line items that will ship to that same location, you can add them now. If you are going to enter any line items for a different address, you will want to press enter after the last item shipping to the default address. In this example, we will enter a second line item that will be drop shipped to a field service repair job, and where the storage location being entered is for the truck assigned for the repair. To enter another line item for a service truck repair job delivery, you need to enter the new information for the item in the second line. Remember to enter the storage location associated with the truck that will be on site performing the repair. After that info is entered, you must single-click on the Delivery Address tab, and change the address. Select the line item you just created using the drop-down button for items. First, you must clear out the current address in the Delivery Address tab fields. Next, you must enter the name of the technician and any other pertinent information such as field-aware job number in the second line of the name field. Finally, you must enter the address of the client location you will be sending the component to. It is very important that when you do this, you enter both the street number and street name into the same field shown here. If this is not done, the street number will not appear in the outbound delivery ticket, which will prevent the shipment from being made. If there are more than one line item going to another address, you will want to press Enter after keying in the additional address. Next, single-click on the Repeat Address on button. When the pop-up window appears, single-click on the green check mark. This will hold the address you are currently viewing, and copy it onto any additional lines you add to this stock transport order until you toggle it off by single-clicking on the Repeat Address Off button. Once again, you will need to single-click on the green check mark in the pop-up window to confirm it. Once these fields are completed, please click once on the check button at the top left of your screen. At this time, you will see a list of either warning or critical errors that you will need to review. Once all the line items entered have been properly updated, you can single-click on the Save button located at the top of your screen to save the stock transport order. You will get a pop-up window that says there may be errors with the document, and it will ask if you would like to continue processing or edit these items. If you have already reviewed these yellow errors, you may continue, but it is a good idea to review the items just in case you missed something. When you are ready to save, simply single-click the Save button in the pop-up window. Once the order is saved, you will need to record the number shown at the bottom left of your screen for future use. As you can see in the material requirements list for the supplying plant, there are now 2 new orders in place for the plant requesting the components. The first is for the shop storage location, and the second is for the truck storage location. You can also see in the material requirements list for the receiving plant that there are now 2 open purchase order lines. Next, go back to the main SAP Session Manager window, and go to the Transaction drop-down field at the top left of the screen. Enter the following transaction to see the purchase orders due for delivery. Next, you will need to clear out both delivery date fields if they are pre-populated, and single-click on the Purchase Order tab near the middle of your screen. Enter the number you just recorded after saving the stock transport order into the Purchasing Document field, and single-click the green Execute button. Once inside the Purchase Orders Due for Delivery screen, single-click on your stock transport order, and then single-click on the background button to create the outbound delivery for the stock transport order. Once created, you can single-click on the Display Delivery button to see the outbound deliveries you just created. As you can see once again in the material requirements list for the supplying plant, there are now 2 new outbound deliveries in place for the plant requesting the components instead of open PO lines. The first is for the shop storage location, and the second is for the truck storage location. You can also see in the material requirements list for the receiving plant that there are still 2 open purchase order lines to receive against. Once this outbound delivery is created, it is the supplying plant responsibility to fulfill the order for you. At this point you are ready to receive the order once it arrives.